The folks at EAA convinced me that I needed to go for my graduate degree and continue flying and get my commercial pilot's license. At that point, my marriage wasn't going so well, and I really needed a way to pay for commercial flight training. I couldn't do it. I couldn't afford to do it out of my pocket. The EAA kicked in a scholarship through the Coffee Gregory internship program that allowed me to get my instrument rating up in Wisconsin. But I wanted to go on after that and become a flight instructor and a commercial pilot. So I moved from Wisconsin down to Middle Tennessee, just south of Nashville, to Middle Tennessee State University. And here I met more modelers, of course, and I got my commercial and CFI certificates. In 2005, I earned my commercial certificate. It's an FAA Part 141 flight school, which is completely different from my grassroots training I had at Rio Creek. Here, the main purpose of this school is to teach airline pilots, so I had to read a checklist. Very difficult for me to read a checklist and fly. But I managed to get through that. Went on to get my flight instructor certificate, a master's in aerospace education, and an education specialist degree, with the intent of going on someday and becoming a college professor. And that's still one of my long-term goals, to teach in an aviation university. MTSU is special because they have a program every summer for teachers to come in and earn graduate credit and learn all about how to use aviation in their classroom. And so I was a part of that as a student and also as an intern while I was there. And I wish there were more programs like that around the country, because aviation is such a great way to get kids focused on math and science and teach them some good, useful stuff in school. This is a picture of the typical airplane that we flew at the flight school. It's quite a bit different than the old Taylor craft. It's got a full glass cockpit, and all the instrumentation is all electronic, and most of the newer airplanes being built today have that same type of instrument panel in them. In that particular picture, I was conducting research for flight training, and I was riding along as an observer in the back, and this is coming into Murfreesboro Airport, which is my airport that I flew out of for school. Right after I got my master's degree in 2006, the chair of the Aerospace department came up to me and he asked me if I'd be willing to teach weather. The professor that taught weather normally was having some medical problems and needed to recuperate for a couple of years, or at least 1 year, ended up being more like 2. And so temporarily, they needed me to fill in. So I said, sure, why not? Another thing to do. The first thing I thought of when I thought, how am I going to teach 60 college students about weather and keep them interested? The first thing I thought of was Dave Thornburg's River of Air. Dave's Old Buzzard Soaring book is one of my very favorite books. And the River of Air concept deals with how air currents move along the ground. And I use it all the time, talking to flight students about, why the airplane does what it does when you're on short final. When you get close to the ground and there's air burbling over trees and things like that, it's just like a river moving through there. And so I use this stuff in my college courses. I wish that I could have taught a basic intro to aerodynamics class, because I'd have had all the kids building AMA Cubs.